So today is Valentine's Day, my least favorite holiday of the year. However, so many of you guys love Valentine's Day, so I figured I would sit down and rank my top 16 Valentine's Day inspired palettes. These are the palettes that I look at and automatically think of Valentine's Day or think of looks to create for Valentine's Day. So grab a snack, grab a drink, and enjoy this little Valentine's Day video with me. Okay guys, so in case you guys are wondering what I'm wearing on my face, I will have the video where I show you guys how I created this look listed down below along with all of the items that I'm wearing. But I want to say I did this video 2 years ago. It was actually in collaboration with Heather Austin. We did like our top 10 Valentine's Day / anti-Valentine's Day inspired palettes. But today I have 16 Valentine's Day inspired palettes. So starting off at number 16, we have the Morphe Forbidden Honey palette. Now there's also the Pure Fantasy palette, but I didn't really get any Valentine's Day vibes off of that, but the Forbidden Honey I absolutely did. Now when it comes to Valentine's Day, y'all know it's my least favorite holiday, but some of you guys out there love it because some of you guys love pinky eyeshadow palettes, red eyeshadow palettes, purple eyeshadow palettes, and some of you guys love Valentine's Day, so I figured why not partake, especially because at the end of the day, I did have a good one since Corey took me to go do the Wild Africa trek. It was a pretty good day, and so I'm going to celebrate. I'm pre-celebrating, by the way, because it really technically is the 11th, but you know what? We are pre-celebrating. Okay, so coming number 16, we have the Morphe Forbidden Honey palette. Now, this was sent to me in PR, and I will say, I do think the color story definitely does represent Valentine's Day with like the pinky tones in here, a little bit of peachy vibes. But I feel like the reason why this is the lowest of the list is because it generally is not a Valentine's Day palette. It's just a Forbidden Honey palette. It came with their Forbidden Honey, you know, for their Forbidden collection. But I still think that this definitely has some aspects to it with the shade, with the color story in here. I feel like it kind of hits a little bit of that pinky vibe. Because whenever I'm looking for anything Valentine's Day, I do look for pinks, purples, and reds, sometimes whites mixed in there, and depending, really grungy Valentine's Day colors. So coming at number 16, we have the Morphe Forbidden Honey palette. Coming at number 15, this at first may not seem like a Valentine's Day palette, but the reason why I'm putting it in here is because of the theme of it. So coming at number 15, we do have the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Longing palette. Now, this is going to be a 24 pan tragically beautiful shade palette. This is about mourning. This is about loss. This is about grieving. And there's so many people out there, who are alone on Valentine's Day, and people either are celebrating that they're alone or people are mourning that they're alone. There's so many different ways that people do take it. It's kind of a reminder, it's kind of a slap in the face for those who are looking for love, what this day symbolizes. And so this palette, I feel like it's really fitting because of the fact that this is a longing palette. It's longing to have what you no longer have, or longing to have something, or longing for somebody. This is just the epitome of longing, and I really, really love this color story. So for me, I can kind of correlate with Valentine's Day because you can kind of stick to this side right here and create really kind of sad, mournful inspired looks for Valentine's Day. Because, you know, someone like me, I do have a husband, which I'm very grateful for, but I don't celebrate Valentine's Day in the typical way that most people would, just because I celebrate our love every day. I don't need a holiday to remind us. But I know some of my friends who hate this day, so they wear all black and they really are like, screw you to Valentine's Day, and they go the opposite of Valentine's Day, do everything black and gothic and dark because they just don't care about this day. So I figured this would be a perfect palette for them to wear, because you can get those tones in here. You can get the dark grungy tones, the soft mournful tones, just a really cool tone vibe. And I just really love the theming of this palette. It's one of my favorite Blend Bunny palettes that they've ever created, is this right here. And I can definitely just see this being a beautiful longing palette for those that you may want or miss or just don't have. And I feel like this would be a good anti-Valentine's Day, but somewhat Valentine's Day as well. So that is like number 15. We do have the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Longing palette. I hope that makes sense. I hope it made sense. Coming in number 14, we do have the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Plastic palette. Now, the only reason why this palette's in here, it's not really because of the theme. It's just mostly because of the color story. Because when I do these videos, I do look for a theme, but sometimes it's just about a color story. And in here, you're gonna have those beautiful pink tones in here. This is a beautiful pink tone eyeshadow palette. You're gonna have those pops and neutrals, which people do love to wear for Valentine's Day, but you're also just gonna have those beautiful pink tones, which everybody always looks for. Even myself, if I'm gonna do like a Valentine's Day look, I always geared towards more a pinky vibe than red. I don't really know why, because like I feel like in the store it's mostly red that's present, but yeah, I somehow gravitate more towards pink, and I feel like that's what this is representing right here. So it's really nothing more special to it in terms of like theming, just more of the color story. So that is why at number 14 we do the Blend Bunny Cosmetics plastic palette. Coming in at number 13 we do have the Huda Beauty. This is going to be the Rose Quartz palette right here. Now the reason why this is going to be in our ranking today is because it's mostly all pink. It's mostly all pink. When I was doing somewhat Valentine's Day inspired looks, this is the palette I would go to. Like when me and Corey would go out on dates, I would wear this palette because I can create something very soft, very beautiful, very girly, very pinky, very Valentine's Day inspired from this palette. This was my go-to for a while, and it no longer is, but it still has those themings in terms of pink. Plus it has some like love terms in here. You have like cosmic love, cherished, happiness, joy, self-love, radiant, serenity. You have precious, you have quartz. Like people do give like pink, like rose quartz or pink quartz, whatever it is, for like love, because that's what they're looking for. So that is what I can kind of get out of this right here. So for me, this is why this is in our ranking today. So coming in at number 13, we have the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. Coming in at number 12, we do have our first officially themed Valentine's Day palette. We have the Glamlite collaboration with Hershey Kisses. This is going to be the Lava Cake. I feel like this is a perfect palette to put into today's ranking. Not the other ones because they're not really as much Valentine's Day versus this. People love to give chocolate during Valentine's Day. Like I'm doing a little Valentine's Day event with some of my girlfriends from work, and I threw in chocolates into their goodie bags because people love chocolates. I love Hershey Kiss. I do love Hershey Kisses, but again, I only eat a few pieces of chocolate before I'm like, oh, okay, I've kind of had my fill, just because I have very sensitive teeth, so I don't eat a lot of candy. But when I went to the Glamlite event, it was around Valentine's Day, and this was what was inspired by it. They created beautiful Valentine's Day inspired looks with this palette, with this collection. People give tons and tons of chocolates. Hershey Kisses is known for making really good chocolates for Valentine's Day, so I feel like this was the perfect epitome of Valentine's Day in this little 5-pan palette. Plus it's pinky, it's chocolate, it's a lava cake, it's kisses. So that is why at number 12, we do the Glamlite collaboration with Hershey Kisses, the Lava Cake palette. Coming in at number 11, you guys have not seen me play with this palette yet, but you guys will see me play with it next week because I do have a multiple look, multiple palette video coming. I don't really know if I'm doing 3 or 4 looks. That's still to be determined, but I did already play with this palette, so you guys will see that in the video. The reason why this is going to be ranked today is because it does remind me of Valentine's Day. It does, because of books. So coming in at number 11, we do have the Colourpop. This is going to be a Shadow of Secrets palette. Now, this was Colourpop's first palette into the romantasy book content, into the romantasy book talk world. They created a palette literally geared towards book talk, geared towards romantasy, geared towards reading. And for me, I think the perfect Valentine's Day gift that anyone could ever give me, and Corey always knows this, is just a good book. I love having a good book. I love romantasies. So obviously there's love in those books. So what better way to celebrate that within a Shadow of Secrets palette? So this right here is going to be the Shadow of Secrets. Now this is definitely more of like a dark theme palette. This is going to be more of like the anti-Valentine's Day palette, right? Like that's what you think. But there's a lot of bookish themes in here as well. So like you have romantasy, beg for it, claimed, trope, high fae. A lot of this is more geared towards book, but I love the color scheme in here. The color scheme can definitely be more of the anti-Valentine's Day or the darker, grungier looks. Those who like to celebrate Valentine's Day, for example, or those who are just like, I don't want to have pinky looks, but I still want to celebrate. This is going to be the palette for you guys. I used to always do half anti-Valentine's Day, half regular, and now I just feel like this is just a perfect, more grungier vibe for those who may not like for those who may not like necessarily bright pinks, but you might like more grungier purples. This is going to be for you. This definitely has beautiful roses to it, beautiful purple tones in here with a little bit of gray tones on the cooler side. I thought it was really perfect. Plus it is a Shadow of Secrets into the book talk world, into the romantasy world, and romantasy is just a great time to read during every time of the year, but mostly during Valentine's Day. So coming in at number 11, we do the Colourpop Shadow of Secrets palette. Coming in at number 10, we have to have this palette in here because it's a love palette, and that is the Glamlite collaboration with Chucky. This is the Crazy in Love palette. Now this palette, from the outside, does not scream Valentine's Day. It does not. But you know what? Chucky has a weird way of loving Tiffany, okay? We can't judge how this man chooses to love. He still loves her. And that is what this palette is. So you're going to have those beautiful deep tones of reds, burgundies, blacks, grays, and blues. Not necessarily typical Valentine's Day color. Great anti-Valentine's Day color, might I add. But I still think it's really beautiful nonetheless. I could still see myself playing with this during Valentine's Day. I could definitely see myself doing a more grungier look, but still incorporating those purples and burgundy shades in there, which are shades I do associate with Valentine's Day. Plus, it's a love palette. This is Chucky's like love letter to Tiffany. You know, everything about this is literally about Chucky and him and his love for Tiffany. And I just think it's a really beautiful palette. This was a love palette. So it may not be our typical love that we picture, but you know what? Everybody deserves love, including the bad guys out there. So that is why at number 10, we do have the Chucky and Love palette from Glamlite. Coming in number 9, we do have the Adept Cosmetics. This is going to be the Minka palette. I think this is a beautiful palette to incorporate during the Valentine's Day season, or if you just love pinks all around. There's so many different beautiful multi-chromes in here that definitely shift between like a purple blue, purple pink, pink purple, rose gold, pink white. Like there's different multi-chromes in here that you can definitely incorporate all season long, all month long, all year long. But this is just a beautiful, beautiful purpley pink vibe palette, which I definitely do think captures the essence of Valentine's Day in terms of color scheme. That's why I'm putting this in here, because of all the different shifts in here and all the different tones. You can definitely create so many different beautiful Valentine's Day, very girly, very, romantic style looks with this palette. So coming in number 9, we do have the Adept Cosmetics Minka palette. Coming in at number 8, we do have the Bella Beauté Bar. This is the Morally Gray palette. Now, again, this is a book-inspired palette, but I'm still going to count this because, one, it's a heart. It's pink. And on the inside, you are going to have those pinky tones in here, a little bit more on the darker side. So this would be more of a grungier Valentine's Day look, a grungier, cool tone, pinky vibe look. A little bit, maybe can even go a little bit more towards like anti-Valentine's, however you want to look at it. But for me, this is a definite Valentine's Day palette. All the shade names are in here, are going to be all the, the names in here from, Mixed Feelings to Not a Villain to Shades of Grey to Complete, to Complete Motivations to Bittersweet to Mixed Feelings. Like there's just so many different things that capture Valentine's Day. Like I can definitely create a really beautiful Valentine's Day look with this. I absolutely could. I think it's really beautiful. I love the look I created with this. I would absolutely wear that on Valentine's Day. It's just more of a grungier look. A little bit more of a grungier, spicier Valentine's Day look. So that's why I love it. And I definitely recommend using this for Valentine's Day. So coming in at number 8, we do have the Morally Gray palette from Bella Beauté Bar. Coming in at number 7, we do have the Nomad Cosmetics. This is going to be the this would be the Love and Death palette. So this actually came out for Valentine's Day, I want to say 2 years ago actually. And what I love about this palette is, one, it is an absolute Valentine's Day palette. This is inspired by Romeo and Juliet, particularly Juliet, who you guys can write letters to in Italy. You can ask love advice to, and they actually do respond back to you. I say they because I'm pretty sure it's a team of people that respond back to them, but you can ask so many different questions and they can give you great love advice, which I think is really cool that people could still write love letters to Juliet. So on one side, you are going to have the love section, what people strive to have throughout their life is a good one true love. And then on this side, you are going to have the death side. On the death side, so like a mournful side. Those maybe hate love, who lost love, who crave love and just are just bitter they don't have it. There's so many different ways you can take it. And then you have the love side. You have life and death, love and death. And with love comes hate. They're the same feeling but on opposite spectrums, and those are still considered feelings whether people think so or not. And I just feel like this is a really good epitome again of Valentine's Day for those who hate it and love at the same time. Like I said, kind of more of my style palette because I can get the best of both. If I want to create a really beautiful Valentine's Day look, I can, but if I don't, I have the opposite side to go for. So that is why at number 7, we did the Love and Death palette from Nomad Cosmetics. Coming at number 6, we do have the Gourmande Girls Bitten palette. Now this is more of like a vampiric palette, but you know what? Vampires deserve love too. They absolutely do. And the color scheme in here is perfect for Valentine's Day. You're going to get those different tones of purples, a little bit of reds, a little bit of burgundies, with little pops of colors mixed in between. I think you can create really beautiful grungy Valentine's Day looks with this palette. I love the shade names in here. There's definitely some elements to, Valentine's Day, like bloodlust and whatnot. Like this is a great palette that Gourmande Girls came out with. It feels like they're a rendition of Valentine's Day without fully being a true Valentine's Day palette. And I just feel like they really hit the mark. I can create so many different beautiful looks with this. You have a mix between light and dark in here. I just feel like it just, I don't know, a really grungy Valentine's Day palette. And I really do enjoy having something just a little different than just the standard bright pinks, purples, and reds. It's kind of nice to have a little bit more grungier side. So coming in at number 6, we do have the Gourmande Girls Bitten palette. Coming in at number 5, which is actually what I'm wearing on my eyes today, but we have the Artitude Cosmetics Ink and Roses palette. Now, whenever I think of Valentine's Day, I do think of cards. And Corey and I used to write cards to each other every year for Valentine's Day. That was one of our gifts, where we'd always tell each other exactly how we felt. I still have his cards from the very beginning of our relationship, and he still has mine. And so I always associate Valentine's Day with love letters and cards, and I feel like this is what this palette captures right here. So you're gonna have the outside packaging, inside color story, perfection. The color story on the inside. It's the color story on the inside that is just really beautiful. It's a very unique Valentine's Day palette. I wouldn't necessarily say that it was geared for Valentine's Day, but I'm gonna take it as such. Because of the names, you're gonna have love, blossom, roses, petal, bloom, but then you're also gonna have ink, you're gonna have calligraphy, you're gonna have whisper, you're gonna have parchment, you're gonna have wilted. People who love to write letters during Valentine's Day to confess your love, or to confess your love, or just to write down everything you feel. People who want to write down poems for Valentine's Day. There's so much more, it's a little bit more complex palette. It's a very more unique twist on it. At least that's how I'm taking it. So maybe I'm just being a little biased because I can just see both, but I think it's really gorgeous. I think you can create really beautiful, soft Valentine's Day looks with this palette. Like I said, I'm wearing it on my eyes right now. I think it's really, really beautiful, and I absolutely love it. So coming in number 5, we do have the Artitude Cosmetics Ink and Roses palette. Coming in at number 4, the only reason why this palette is placing so high is not because of the outside packaging. It's truly just because the inside color story. So coming in number 4, we did the P.Louise Stack 'em Up palette. This is the Money Tones palette. This is just a pure pink palette. Again, this is a perfect palette to wear for Valentine's Day. If you're just looking for those beautiful pinky shades, look no further. You're going to find all the shades right here. There's different undertones to it. You're going to have the pinks, the burgundies, the golds, and the whites. I think it's really beautiful. You can create just a really pretty, aesthetically pleasing pink eye look. And I think when it comes to like P.Louise, for some reason, I tend to have palettes that are really monochromatic, and I really do enjoy that because it plays into whatever holiday I'm, ranking it for. But this is perfect for Valentine's Day. That is why at number 4, we do have the P.Louise Money Tones palette. Coming in at number 3, again, this is a palette that you guys have not seen here on my channel yet, but stay tuned to next week because I already filmed an eye look with this palette, so stay tuned. But we have the DD Signature. This is the Shattered Romance palette. So this palette right here, I think it's beautiful because it's all pretty much about broken love. Broken love, heartache. You're going to have shades like Broken Vows, Frozen Feelings, Dark Secret, Faded Roses, Golden Lies, Passion Ends, Silent Goodbyes, Tears of Amethyst, and Bleeding Love. Everything that has to do with shattered dreams, shattered hope, shattered love, and just beautiful Valentine's Day inspired palette. So you're gonna have a black right here with like red glitter in it, which I think is beautiful. You're gonna have 3 beautiful like duochromes in here as well, along with some beautiful pinky mattes. You're gonna have pinky, you're gonna have a beautiful pink, more of like a light lavender, a purple, a burgundy. You're gonna have black for like just that, right? And then beautiful multi-chromes. I think this is a gorgeous palette. I think DD Signature did a great job on just doing something a little different. Instead of just doing like a happy-go-lucky palette, they created a palette for those who are heartbroken, those who are scorned, those who felt betrayed by their loved ones in this palette. This palette's for those who definitely understand what it's like to have a broken heart, and I think this is beautiful. So that is why at number 3, we have the DD Signature Shattered Romance palette. Coming in at number 2, we have the Morgan Turner collaboration with Odin Eyes. This is the Love Language palette. She literally created this palette for Valentine's Day. This is her Valentine's Day palette because Morgan loves pink, Morgan loves purple, and Morgan loves Valentine's Day. And she created that with this palette right here. Like literally, you're going to have the pinks, you're going to have the purples, and you're going to have a little bit of the neutrals. And then all the shade names in here have everything to do with Valentine's. Like this shade right here is literally called Valentine's. So this is a perfect palette for Valentine's Day. I think she did such a great job kind of, mixing up the shades in here and not just going for the typical red, purple, pink, and adding just a little bit more dimension to the purples and pinks that are in here. And I just feel like it really does capture the love of Valentine's Day. She did a really good job. This screams Valentine's Day from every single shade name to the color story to the outside packaging. Morgan did such a great job. So that is why at number 2, we do have the Love Language palette from Morgan Turner collaboration with Odin's Eye. And then coming at number 1, I definitely have gotten rid of some Valentine's Day palettes over the years because like I said, they are my least favorite just because I don't really play with a lot of pinks and purples and reds, especially reds. I don't play a lot of reds. But this palette in particular recently fell into my hands, and I truly think it is just the perfect Valentine's Day palette, and that is the Colourpop Lost in Love palette. This is literally a Valentine's Day palette. I had the original Flirty Talk, but I definitely did declutter that this past year, and then this fell into my hands, and this is literally a Valentine's Day palette. Everything about this palette is about falling in love, celebrating love, from the shade names to the color story to the outside packaging. I mean, you have shades like Ever After, Ever Never, Falling, Totally Smitten, Better With You, Cupid Calling, So in Love, Fave Text, Amorous, All My Heart, Yours Truly. Like, everything about this is truly a love palette. This is the perfect palette to wear for Valentine's Day because you're going to have those pink tones in here, a little bit of the red tones, a little bit more of the plumber shades in here as well. And I just think Colourpop did a really great job at capturing the essence of Valentine's Day from the heart, out from the outside packaging with the hearts to the color story on the inside to the shade names. This is their perfect Valentine's Day palette. So that is why at number 1 we do the Colourpop Lost in Love palette. So those are all of my 16 palettes that remind me of Valentine's Day, whether it's a longing palette, a dark grungy almost anti-Valentine's Day palette, to a typical beautiful pinky red Valentine's Day palette. These palettes right here definitely remind me of the holiday. But I'm curious, what palettes remind you of Valentine's Day? Did I overlook something? Did I miss something? Let me know in the comments below, and also let me know how you guys are celebrating. For me, since I'm pre-filming, I'm gonna be working, and then I'm gonna come home and just spend the rest of the day with Corey. But I did get to celebrate by going to Wild Africa Trek, which I thought was great. So that, my most beautiful friends, is it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure you guys give this video a cheeky thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you guys have not already. So I do post 3 to 4 videos every single week. Make sure you guys head over to my other channel. It's All for Life. You guys get to see my cool, wonderful adventures, my amazing husband, Corey. And as always, the biggest thank you goes to these beautiful, wonderful Patreon members you guys see right here. Thank you guys so much for everything. And to my subscribers and viewers, thank you guys so much for being here. Whether you guys like this video, you guys thumbs down this video, you guys subscribed, you guys did not subscribe, either way, thank you guys so much for being here. I love and appreciate each and every single one of you. So with that said, guys, I love you, and I'll see you guys in the very next video.